Hi, everybody. Welcome to Show It Live here on showit.com. I'm Field, and this is Liz.
We are so excited that you have joined us. This is a weekly webcast that our team here at Showit produces each week. Every week, we bring on a different guest, and we talk about small business ownership, photography, and just being a creative in general. Yep. And this is going to be a really fun show. Yeah,
so normally we bring on other Showiteers, other photographers and creatives from our community. Right. Today we didn't go too far.
No, we just went right across the hall.
Opened the door.
Opened a door and asked Showit CEO Todd Watson if he would come and be part of the show and let you in on some details about what's going to happen with Showit 5.
Yeah, and if you've never actually met Todd, he's going to be in Vegas.
Yes.
At this event called WPPI.
Right. So it's coming up in 1 month.
Yeah, which is terrifying. But we're all going to be there. And a really cool thing that we've done for the past couple of years, this is actually the third year that we've done it, is it's the Showiteer dinner at the Wicked Spoon in the Cosmopolitan. So it's the third annual.
The third annual, Sunday, March 6th at 6:30 p.m. at the Cosmopolitan Hotel. They have a buffet called the Wicked Spoon.
Yes.
Like you mentioned. And
it is wicked good.
It is wicked good. And if you're from Boston, then you know all about wicked.
It's wicked.
I'm really bad at voices. But the third annual Showiteer dinner, you can find your ticket if you go to our Facebook page. Yep. So you go to facebook.com/showit.
Sure.
And that's where you can find all the info. And we do have a handful of tickets left. And if you are a Showiteer friend, if you're not necessarily a Showiteer,
If you're not one yet.
Yes. Yeah. If you're not one yet, because we want you to be part of the family, we would love if you would come and join us.
Totes allowed to come.
Totes allowed.
And you get a pretty sweet discount too on the dinner ticket.
Yeah.
It's a hot meal.
The huge strawberries, I'm always talking about the strawberries because they're like the size of your hand. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really good. So that's coming up soon. That's at WPPI where we will be, and we want to give you hugs and have you come and visit us in the booth. We also have something that's starting. It actually started yesterday.
Yesterday.
Because this is February. Welcome to February 2nd. Is it Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
I think it actually is. And I think that Puxatawny Phil saw, did he see a shadow? He didn't see a shadow. So spring is coming. Spring is coming early. The other thing that is coming this month is we are doing a series, an e-course called 5 Weeks to a Better Brand. And we kicked it off yesterday with Jasmine Starr, helping you to find your 3 words that really embody and align with your brand. And branding is such a huge part of having a successful business. So this is a free e-course that you can participate in.
And our 3 words here at Showit are bacon, beards, and basil. That is not.
Those might be Field's 3 words. No, I think our words were modern, innovative, and fun, which really sounds and feels like us. But we want to know what your words are.
Yeah, it's a good thing to go and be a part of. And this is the time of year when creatives across the globe are making changes in their business and so it's the perfect time for it.
Yeah, it's great. So go to showiteer.com where you are right now watching the show, and on the front page you can find all the info. You can sign up for that. It's a weekly email. You'll get 5 in a row. You can start at any point, but we would love it if you would do it with us in February as we go through these week by week.
And they're super legit people. It's not Field telling you how to do stuff. Jasmine Starr, if you've heard of her, she knows her stuff.
Yeah, she's kind of a big deal. Jamie Delane is going to be part of this. Crystal Stokes is going to be part of this. We've got some great pros that are going to give you wonderful tips and actual action steps. And there's a worksheet involved that you can download for each of these. Yeah. So it's going to be really good. So go and check that out. And then one of the things we like to do around here is celebrate our Showiteers.
Yes. Yeah, so we get to be part of a community that just has crazy awesome people in it, and we like to feature them every week. And this week we are featuring Corey Kraft.
Corey Kraft.
So tell us a little bit about Corey Kraft.
Corey is an amazing photographer. She lives in Colorado. She's actually the mom of 3 boys, which you would probably not know. If you go to her website, it's very girly and feminine and beautiful. And she's an amazing wedding photographer. She loves to specialize in weddings. But she's got 3 boys now. She's got an amazing story. They had wanted to have kids for a long time and couldn't get pregnant, adopted 2 boys. And she actually just gave birth to her 3rd boy recently, which is really cool. I know Corey through a neat organization called Pursuit Community. And if you go to her website, I think it's coreycraft.com. You can check that out and take a look at Corey's work and just the layout of her site. I really love the way this is Showit desktop that she's been using. And it's just a beautiful site. So check that out.
Now, you may have noticed on the left-hand side of Liz, there's a chat window, and Brianna McKendrick is actually in there. Hello. And she asked the question, where can she find the link to the 5 weeks.
Oh,
Better Brand?
5 weeks to a better brand. It's right here on showit.com.
Yep.
If you just go to the homepage or open up a new browser window, you'll be able to get
Don't
that.
leave
Showit.com.
now.
Don't go away.
After
Don't go
the
away,
show.
Brianna. After the show, you
yeah.
can sign up for that. You'll get the first email, and then every week you'll get another email for 5 weeks, because February has 5 weeks this year.
Yeah.
Sort of 5 Mondays.
You get a free day this year.
You do.
Sleep year, free day to do whatever you
I wonder
want.
what people are going to do
Yeah.
February 29th.
The laws of gravity do not apply that day. There's all sorts of cool things. You
I
can
think it's the day in Ireland where all the women propose. Well, not all the women, but the women propose to the men. It's like the one day.
do. Is that really a thing?
It's a thing. It's the
so
one
awesome.
time it's appropriate, I think, in Ireland. I don't know. If you're from Ireland, jump on. Let us know where you are in the chat. We want to know where you're chatting from today, too.
If that's not a thing. I'm
Or
not
if you're
doing
going to
it.
be proposing.
Yeah, right.
You've never seen the movie Leap Year? Isn't that what that movie was about?
So, show it 5. No.
I'm not trying to delay the really important details,
Yeah.
you guys. We have some really fun stuff today.
Yeah, so on with us. Like I said, we didn't go far for our guest today. It is Showit CEO Todd Watson. So, Todd, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you.
Hello.
All right.
It's been a week since you've been on the show, because last week was your birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I got on the show for
5-10 minutes.
5-10
it
minutes.
was
Yeah,
good.
and then you try to sneak some information out of me. That's usually what happens around here.
It's true.
Just put me on the spot. But we also have one other guest that we're bringing in.
That's true. We do.
That we want to bring them in as well, because we celebrated a big week last week with launching her new site. It's someone that's been a long time Showiteer, and here she is with us today. It is Christie Dickerson.
Hello.
Hi, Christy.
How are you
How are
doing?
you guys?
We are so good. We are so glad you are here. You are one busy woman. You are always doing something, which is amazing. You're a speaker. You have a company called Start Planner. You're a photographer, and you just launched this amazing site on Showit 5.
Well, I did, Showit 5. That's why I'm here. Is amazing. And I really think this is going to be a game changer for so many businesses and so many brands. So thank you. I'm stoked to be here.
Awesome. Yeah. So we actually had been in talks a while back about doing a Showit 5 site with Christie, and she worked with her designer, Jenny, and worked through that process. And so we're excited that it's one of our really big first WordPress launches. So that's why we wanted to have you on this show to see a little bit about that. So you can go to see Christie's site at christiedickerson.com. And now when you click on the blog, you can see some of that integration and how that's all working. So maybe tell a little bit about what your thoughts were in bringing your site together and how that all worked.
Absolutely. So I have been a Showiteer since 2009. So I've had a Showit site, a drag and drop site for a long time. And over those 6 years, my brand and my business and my direction has changed a lot. And how I originally built my blog was christiedickersonblog.com. So I had it on a separate domain name. And I really feel like now in 2016, it's so important for users to have everything together, quick and fast. People don't want to go to a blog and then have to go to a website and get more information. They really want to scroll and get everything really, really fast. So I started looking at the other options that were out there. I looked at WordPress, and there are templates that you can get for WordPress, but they're templates. And if you want to customize those templates, you have to know something called code, and I don't know anything about code, and I don't want another title. So then I start looking, well, do I want to hire someone to do this, or have a custom built blog? Do I want to get it revamped? But that's really expensive and really time consuming. And as much as I change my own businesses and much as we change our brands, I didn't want to do that. So Jenny, my graphic designer, has never worked with Showit. She comes from a graphic design background, but has no affiliation with Showit whatsoever. So what we really did is we put together my website and my brand. And like Elizabeth mentioned, I'm a speaker, I'm a business coach, I am also a photographer, and I also am the co-founder of Start Planner. So I have a lot of moving pieces to my business, and I wanted something that brought it all together. So Jenny and I sat down and dreamed up this website. We're like, this is an ideal world. This is what I would want. I would want something very fresh, very clean, but also something that you can scroll, you can navigate, that also integrates the blog. And if you go to the blog, you can also search by category. There was a lot of stuff that I loved from my custom built blog that I didn't want to lose. And if you have a template, you would lose a lot of that. So we really built everything from the ground up, and have been working with the Showit team saying, this is what people would want. This is what people need. So they have been amazing. And the Showit 5 software, you know, I got a lot of questions when I posted in there, the drag and drop, is it there? It is just as easy, you guys. Like they have made WordPress easy, which is kind of like magic.
Yeah, well, thank you, Christie. And actually, we were going to actually pull up what does it look like to actually design your blog inside of Showit. And so, we, you know, just to give a little demo of some of what that looks like. So you saw a little bit of the blog. Now you can see on my screen, this is actually inside of Showit 5, and you can see the different sections like you saw on her blog. But then over here, we have our pages. So I'll get there first to look at just a little bit about each of these sections. Everything in here is you know, all completely drag and drop, and I don't want to change it because this is your live site. So I'm just going to give you the fact that you could
just start making changes.
But then when I jump over here to this, to the WordPress blog template, I can come in here, and everything in here is the same way. If I want to come in here and adjust the title and the text, I can do that, and it's laying out exactly what you want your blog design to look like. And then, you know, I have a second post that looks like this. And then as we jump over to the blog, you'll see that as that content from WordPress comes in, it just fills out those sections. So you can see as we were doing that design right there is coming straight from Showit, and you can do that right there. And then once you connect your blog to your WordPress, it's just a matter of hitting that publish button, and it generates that theme for you, and you have that theme that you can use in there. So that's a little bit about the behind the scenes of what Christie's blog looked like and how we did that. Yeah. And now as you move forward, making changes to that, if you want to add something to your header, add a new gallery, whatever you want to do to that, it's really simple to do and straightforward inside of Showit 5.
There was a couple things that we, you know, as we were designing, we had to go back through and add things, and, you know, we wanted to add something to the footer, and it's kind of, you know, first you're like, it's a little overwhelming when you first get in there because there's a little bit of a learning curve, but a lot of the stuff is same as Showit 5. But once you learn it, it's drag and drop. It's really simple, and it's really easy software to work with that you can make updates as you change and as your brand evolves, and as you need to update more images. It's really simple to do. So absolutely. Thank you for having me, and thank you guys for making Showit 5, because it's going to change a lot of businesses.
Well, cool. Thank you, Christie, for joining us. And we'll jump out and show you a little bit more of Showit 5, but thanks for joining us and give us a little intro. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Bye, Christie.
So there are some really good questions coming in.
Questions are starting to come in the chat.
So it's time. There's a lot. We're not giving away everything here today, but I think it'd be great to answer some of the questions specifically based off how Showit and WordPress are going to work together. And Ashley Durham actually just had a great question. She was saying that she has a pro photo blog on her current blog. When she switches over, does she lose everything, like comments and all that? Magic happens.
Yeah, so that's the great thing is comments and all those things are stored in WordPress, and they're going to move right in along with that theme in WordPress. So just to give like that backstory, we really felt like we've been asking, I mean, we've been doing Showit for a while, and there's been a lot of ask of like, can you build a blog? And we considered like, hey, do we just build our own blog? But then as we looked at the landscape, you realize that WordPress has figured out a really great way to store content, comments, hierarchies, all those things do really well. And so rather than reinventing the wheel, we wanted to take what we love about Showit, the drag and drop capabilities that we just showed a little bit of. I'm going to show you some more, but take those drag and drop capabilities and then still have the content management that WordPress has. So people have asked, well, how do I create a blog post now? I mean, that's a big question. And we want to make that a little bit simpler and a little bit easier. Right now, it's still through WordPress where you just log in, hit post, add a new post, and create that content. But the great thing is now it looks pretty, and you have a theme that you can design around it and all that stuff. So there's going to be a ton of those questions of like, do plugins work? Do comments work? Do all those things work? So what we've approached WordPress with is we want to work with the way that WordPress works. So we have lots of plugins that are working great. You know, if you look at Christie Dickerson's blog, there's a Pinterest plugin to pin each image. And, there's other ones that we're working on that have a shopping cart that's like a digital download or other things like that, that WordPress has some great community plugins that are really refined and well done. And so if you want to get some of those capabilities, that is a great way to plug that directly in and get that to work. So we're, continuing to figure out which things are going to work the best with it, and we'll continue to recommend that. But for the most part, we're seeing that. The other question that came up is, how much does this cost? It's always going to be that.
That's the
well, actually, there's two questions.
Yeah.
When does it come out?
Yes.
I have it.
I've never heard that one.
You haven't heard that
No,
one
when does it
yet?
come
When does it
out?
come out, and how much does it cost? So
I would just say this. There's going to be a Showit 5 booth at WPPI. So take that, with a grain of salt there, but there will be a booth at WPPI, and you will get to come in, play around with Showit 5, get maybe a little more than a preview, and get some really sweet information.
yeah,
there.
and WPI is the first or second week of March.
Second week, yeah, the 7th, 8th, and 9th of March is the trade show.
But
Yeah.
And as far as cost goes, we can at least say that, if you are a current subscriber, Showit 5 comes with your current subscription.
Yep.
So, we're happy to say that. And we're looking at the pricing, and we're excited to announce that soon. But yeah, and then as far as the timing, the reality is we have like over 100 people using Showit 5 right now. In our creator collective, building sites right now. They get to experience what I'd say is kind of the bleeding edge of like a little bugs here and there, and figuring those things out. And so a few of those people are in the chat. Even some of the people that are in chat probably are using Showit 5 and haven't got a chance to use the WordPress stuff yet.
There's some people who are close.
Yeah.
David Medina, who's done an amazing job building his Showit 5 site, was just messaging me the other day about getting the WordPress plugin and all of that. So some really cool things.
So the process that we did to create this first round of people was the application process that Field has gone through and reached out. We have a whole new group of people that are coming in this week. So if you're interested in being a part of our creator collective, which is that first round of people, those are going to be a part of, or you can apply for that.
Yeah.
So
you can apply to get early access to Showit 5, and there was a link to that was sent out to everybody who had been to showit5.com and RSVP'd and all of that, and we can get you that link as well.
Yeah, and I always say, if you have any questions, just PM Field.
It's computer dings all day long.
All day long. But the best part is I love talking to people and talking to people specifically about Showit 5 because it's crazy awesome. Here it is. And I actually just built my first WordPress integrated pages yesterday. So I built my first WordPress template theme last night.
It's exciting.
It was I was amazed at how easy it was to do. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was kind of dreading it, and I got in. 15 minutes later, I had my first post and everything done.
Yeah. Well, let's jump in and show a few things.
Yeah.
And start off. This is probably one of those first really big introductions to Showit 5. What I usually like to start with is to say, actually, let me pull my other screen up. What I usually like to start with is to show what we're trying to accomplish, and then look at that. So, for instance, we're going to start out with this sample site. So this is like a very simplistic Showit 5 site that we put together, and you can see it has some of that cool scrolling stuff, a section here, some areas with some gallery images, and that along with the social media stuff at the bottom. So this is a real basic one. These links kind of click and go about there. And then when we click over to the blog, we actually used some of Liz's content to create this blog post. But here's the just the basic layout right there for a blog homepage. And then when you click on to an image, you can see that particular post, all that information, and all that other fun stuff. So this is a basic design. And what the fun thing about this that I also wanted to kind of show is when we look at this, this is a desktop view, and I want to go ahead and show you at least what's going to happen as we get smaller. We're going to switch over to a mobile view right here. So you can see right there, this is the mobile view, and it has the full content. Likewise, I'm going to click into a post, and you can see right here, there's a post. So this is in my mobile view. Likewise, as I stretch this out, I can get this into my desktop view and see this this particular one. So that's the basics of having my content and what this site is, because I think it's good to see a picture of where we're going before we get to how we're going to do that.
Well, and a couple cool things about that. One, that first blog post that you clicked on, Liz and I actually shot that together. So I second shot for Liz. But two, it's the same idea behind Showit is the way you design it is how people are going to see your site. Like that's true there's this word responsive that goes around on the internet, and Showit does it differently and always has done it differently than everybody else. And the fact that the way I design my site, it's the one thing we've always loved about Showit, is how Carrie designs the site is exactly how clients are going to see it. We don't have to worry about some developer who says, okay, this should rewrap here when it gets to this size. Like we know exactly how it's going to show up. And specifically with the mobile and the way it breaks down, no matter what size screen they're on, it's going to be optimized for their viewing. Because even on a desktop, if they're at work and they're trying not to look at your site, like they don't want their boss to know and they have it tiny, they're getting an optimal experience on the site. So I just wanted to throw that out there for people who haven't worked in Showit before. That to me, being a photographer, and I know for you as well, that's huge. I'm very particular about how people see our stuff.
You want it to look the way that you want it to look, and they're not be a surprise. So many times I've had people look at their site, not Showiteers, online or on their phone, and be like, "Oh, I didn't realize it looked like that." That's not how I want it to look. Or I was talking to a blogger specifically about WordPress, and she said, "I can't control the way my WordPress site looks on a phone, but now with Showit 5, you absolutely can."
Yeah, and one of the questions that came up in the chat here too was like, so is Showit 5 switching to being a blog site? And the answer is no. So we are committed to being a really great website. Now, what we've seen more and more is that blogs add to a great website. And so for people who blog, we want to have a cohesive experience between your website and your blog. And that was always the disconnect, was people were having a theme that they had to create over here, and then they had their site designed and Showit, and there's all this whatever. So what we wanted to do is be able to create that look and feel of your website and translate that into what your blog looks like as well. So it's either or. You can publish a Showit site without having a blog, without having WordPress, without touching any of that stuff. But if you want a blog, the power of WordPress is there. So
and you can control all the little things, and that's what I love. If you don't want to include post date because you don't blog as regularly as you should, you just don't put post date on there. And some people just have kind of not blogged in a while. This way you can control that, which I love.
Well, let me jump in here real quick. So we just showed you that blog, so let me give you the basics of here's the homepage that was built. So this is a Showit 5 page, and this just has each thing. One of the exciting things that we're seeing in Showit 5 that will give you a little sneak on is like this section right here has different views, and what each of these views are going to be the ability to create sections of your site that can be totally interactive and have totally custom. This one in particular has just photos, but just think right here, I can add whatever I want. So if I wanted to go ahead and add some text, and let's say I throw a heading right here, and I want to throw it in here. Now this right here will become a part of this view. And so I could say, I love trees.
It's so true.
It's so true, so true. And I come over here and say, oh, I actually want that to be white so it shows up a little bit better. And I really want that size to be something like 80. And then get this in here. So now this right here is a view on this canvas that now becomes separate just for this one. So now as I preview that, you can see that when I come into this section and I click over here to that I love trees is right there. Bam.
So you can add text to an individual image.
Yeah.
Or a whole section.
Cool,
You can use that in all kinds of ways to create about me sections and all that. So this is the power of using Showit 5 inside of there. And now you take that power and you move it into, okay, now what am I going to do for my template? Now this is going to come over here and I come into my blog template. And so you can see here's my pages. And then your blog template is kind of what you think about when you see WordPress, the different types. So we recommend at least starting with the two, like what your post list looks like, and then what a single post looks like. So this one right here is our single post, and this one right here is our post list. So the exciting thing is a lot of our designs that we're building right now will have this stuff. So it'll come in and you'll have all this thing kind of laid out for you. It's going to be super easy just to take that and say, you know what? I don't really like the way this title is. I really want to change the font.
Yeah.
I really want it to be this blue color. That's it. That's as much as it takes. I hit publish, boom, that's the color of my font.
And then every post that you've posted in the past, every new post, the title will now have the blue font. Like, that's the crazy thing to me, is how easy it is to just make this one change, and then it automatically links up with WordPress, and then WordPress just,
Yeah.
You don't ever have to worry about getting into your WordPress editor again,
oh man,
messing with the CSS, and accidentally crashing your blog and having to tell your colleagues that you've crashed your own blog.
raise your hand if you've completely done WordPress.
Yeah.
And so now the great thing about this is in Showit 5, we didn't want to just only have this desktop editor. We also wanted to say, okay, what does that look like on mobile? So we have, you can lay this out on your mobile design, make your changes individually to that, decide to, you know what, I don't actually want the post date on mobile. I can come over here to my page and hide this on mobile, for instance. And now that particular thing isn't on mobile. And one of the things that we're doing that we haven't seen anywhere else is this side-by-side mobile and desktop editor. And so when you look at this, you're going to see I can actually edit this this side-by-side. I can see what it looks like here. And you can see up here is that post date that is hidden. If I hide it over there on the desktop, you can see it just went away. So it's just as easy as that to have things that show up on desktop or mobile, and then arrange each of these canvases to decide which order they're going to be in and how that displays.
So you're hitting on all my favorite features, which I really like. Like this is field in a candy store. This is what this is, because you can not only, and I love that you showed that you can hide something from mobile and still have it displayed on desktop, because you get the ability to completely customize that experience on both mobile and desktop, which is huge. We live in a mobile world. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the ability to not only control the way that stuff looks on my desktop, but also on the mobile, it's second to none. And the customization you get in the control.
Right. Well, we know people consume information really differently on a mobile device than they do on a desktop device. And so having that control, but being able to design side by side and see them at the same time is so cool, to make that decision right away and have both done. And
you also skimmed over canvas views, which, I mean, you showed a couple different images, but
that could take like 5 hours.
you can do so many things with them, and I can't wait to see what other people do with it in their hands. My favorite is the about section and making those canvas views, and because what it does is it adds depth to that one page, right? So you may have a long scrolling page with lots of different content, but with a canvas view, you can simply, you can have things scroll through there automatically. You can set up different sections without people ever having to leave that one page, which we know is a decision that people have to make now. Like, do I really want to leave the page? As silly as that sounds, like that's what we've come to as a society.
Right?
It takes a decision
what
to click
Christie
on
said,
something.
like, you don't want to have to go to so many places because for some reason it's just difficult for the user to do that. Now it all can live in one place.
And one of the questions that's come up in the chat too is, I mean, the whole design experience, and that's what we're about. I mean, this should feel, like an Illustrator or Photoshop. It's there's a naturalness to the way that you can lay things out the way you want, and you're not stuck in boxes, and I mean, this is the fun thing too, is as you look at some of this content, we even have this sidebar that hangs out over top of other sections. So even though it's a part of the sidebar, it's hanging out. And when this section right here, we've made it sticky so that it sticks to the top. And now when we actually view that particular site, you can see why that was, oops, that's the wrong window. Getting to it, there we go. But you can see up here, this is where that whole sticky section stayed where it was designed. And so you can have that flexibility to create something, lay it out the way that you want, have it stick there, and still be able to have the rest of your content. And then you say, well, this is a pretty cool font. How did I get that in? Did I have to go through a whole process to get that font in? Like, what was that? What did that look like? So just a real quick to show you how that looks. I feel like I lost the full screen. What I did. Okay. I come over to my site, I can go into the design settings, and this is a whole other area by itself, but it has our color palette that you can set to kind of set up the theme for your site. But then you also have this layout of how you want your text.
The different type styles.
So, and I can come into this text and say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and add a font, and it's going to pop up our list of fonts. And in this particular site, we're just using these 3. But say that I think Oswald is a Google font. So you can browse Google Fonts and say, you know what, I just want to add Oswald, normal 400, and boom, there you go. Oswald is now in. So
that looks complicated.
So
it's pretty
simple.
complicated.
And Google Fonts are all free.
Yeah, so
that's great.
And all used for web fonts, which is the way to go.
Oh, and then the other one too is if you don't find a Google font that you want, you can upload a font. So you just drag and drop a font. You just have to have it as a WAF, which you can get those converted.
At Font Squirrel.
At Font Squirrel
is my favorite because it does what I need to do and it has a squirrel.
Yeah.
There's really no other reason.
Yeah. So you take that and you get to Font Squirrel, you get a WAF file. Once you have that WAF file, you drag it in, and then you can add your custom font like that as well. Now, when you do custom fonts, obviously we all protect licensing, so you have to find font that you actually can license and all that kind of stuff.
The other reason Font Squirrel's good, it helps keep you legit.
Yeah. And we have Typekit working in places, but there's a couple tweaks with that is probably not going to be ready. So we're holding out on Typekit, but our goal is to have Typekit fully integrated in there. Typekit gets a little bit more confusing, but it lets you license a ton of stuff. So we're working on that, but at least for right now, Google Fonts and custom fonts you can get in there.
We've gone well beyond this show in WordPress.
Well, I think that's
really,
important.
It is important.
The design settings are one of my favorites.
Going back to the sticky menus too, and some of those settings that you have pulled up right now. What's funny is I think we've just kind of scratched the surface of this. Yeah. And I see other designers and design partners in the chat, like Shipley and Jason Taves and some other people, and I can't wait to see what they continue to do with it.
So I saw this particular one last night for the first time that Nate did, and I was like, oh goodness, this is insane. And then Field had his that Carrie and Field have been working on, and I was like, oh man, this is crazy that like how cool these things are. So the other question I think that came up, and it's come up before, is like, so do we create a blog post inside of Showit? And how does that actually work? Right now, initially what we're going to do is let you continue to use WordPress as your post editor, because they actually have it's fairly decent, especially when you click to like hide everything and just work on the post.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see nothing but my words.
Yeah. And your pictures.
And your pictures, and you can use that. So right now we're doing that. We're looking at how we integrate that post editor directly into Showit. That's just not there yet. That's something that we'll be working toward. But we thought the biggest feature that people want is the seamless. And as you can see, like this particular header, is designed here is the same across, onto their site. So as you're going through their site, you can have that consistency, have that same feel.
That's amazing. Well, and the ability to change things easily in terms of the design around your WordPress blog is huge, because sometimes in a theme, if you just want to change the color, you're like, well, what is that? Is it the heading? Is it the title? Is it the post? How do I? And then you're in the CSS, and then you're close to danger.
Yeah.
I seriously spent 45 minutes trying to change the way my logo appears when it scrolls.
Right.
45 minutes on WordPress, and on Showit I just go, I drag it, I make it bigger, and I'm done. Like it didn't take me 13 seconds.
This is such a cool integration.
Yeah, and the other question that just came up was about SEO. SEO is a big question, because you want to get optimized for the search engine stuff. That's another reason that WordPress is heavily influenced or encouraged, is because having content that's linkable, that you have posts like at a venue or whatever else that people might be searching for, creates that SEO traction. And so that's the great thing about having a blog, is creating that content. And Showit is, it's working like that. I mean, we're doing the things that are necessary to make it SEO friendly. And so we'll continue to, work on all those things, but it works great.
Yeah. And the fun thing is Google has made it less and less about keywords and descriptions and those things, and more about the content that you actually provide. And that's where the longer scrolling sites, like those pages, and having the additional content and the adding depth with the canvas views and all that really comes into play, is you get to add relevancy to your site, to where when somebody is searching for coolest photographer with a sweet beard, like, you're going to find that person.
Because Google,
it's not me, unfortunately.
Google ranks pages, not sites.
Yeah.
So if you think of it that way, that having one page that has all that information on it is really good for SEO.
And then you integrate in your blog and all the words and content that you put on there.
Yeah, we have a few questions coming up about integrations and 17 Hats and Pixify and all those. We will be working specifically with having direct widgets that you can just drop right in and integrate those. But one of the fun things that is different, and that if you've been using Showit Desktop to using Showit 5 now, is that like if I want to add something to this homepage, like say down here in this bottom, I wanted to add an Instagram widget down here, let's say down, I can come in here and I can say embed code, and this is going to give me a little drag and drop piece of area that I can drop some code into. And what we've seen with people that are already using some of those other platforms is the ones that provide a little embed information. You just take that custom code and put it in here. Some of those contact forms have an iframe. So you drop the iframe in there and then it integrates like that. We do want to continue to make some better integrations with certain things, and we'll continue to add more and more widgets. But the great thing is I mean, even on Christie's site, I think she was using iContact or MailChimp, one of those two, and just took a MailChimp embed code, dropped it in there, and it's hooked in. So it's pretty straightforward to be able to add whatever integrations that you want, including Instagram post lists that they're out there, and other things like that. Well, I mean, we'll have more and more of that.
I was actually working with Tamaya Colvin last night, and she was showing me her site and her integration. I think, can't remember if she's 17 hats. And she actually has like it working with a drop down and everything. I'd never seen anything like it. And she did it by herself with a little bit of help from the 17 hats people. Like, that's the coolest thing in the world. Tamaya Colvin is an awesome photographer and like just an amazing personality. She's not a developer. And she got all this done, didn't even ask me. And she was able to get it all done all by herself. It was something I'd never seen before. So
it's really cool.
But you people worry about me oversharing.
This is an overshare.
This is an overshare.
Whatever.
Oh, you're making the chat world so happy.
Yeah, exactly. The other question that came up was plus sites. And so you'll see that right away as you jump in there. We designed Showit with plus sites in mind. And so we love the idea of being able to have custom sites for your clients, for different things that you're doing. I think one of the fun things that we've even transitioned to be a little bit different in this version is that you can actually create a site and then create essentially like a plus site. And then when you like that one better, you could just make that one be your main site. You know, like switching out that kind of stuff is going to be a little bit easier to do. The constraint is that it's all on one domain. So plus sites have always been subdomains. So when I say domains, you start to get techie talk, and I need to kind of back that off a little bit. But
explain it to me.
Field Denny has aceandwim.com. That's his domain name. And so if you wanted to have, jackandjill.aceandwim.com, that would be included with what's going on here. So you can have as many plus sites as you want and create your main site and all those things along with your blog design. You can have that as part of your main site, or if you like to have it as blog.aceandwim.com and have it on a subdomain, you're still welcome to do that. The nice thing is that you can have it match really well. So I think a lot of people like to do that, and there's a lot of debate in the world about that, but I actually think it's a really good way to keep things a little bit separate, that you don't have issues with your blog taking down your main site. Because, WordPress is awesome, but there's things that come up a little here and there with WordPress. And it's kind of nice when it's on a subdomain. And Google will treat a blog subdomain as part of the main domain. It won't hurt your SEO. That used to be the case years ago. So you still hear that, but you can do it either way.
And something that is important that came up, Stephen Hill actually asked, what about migrating a blog? So for the past just over a year now, we've been integrating blogs here at Showit, and
with this in mind.
We were like,
we're coming to this.
That was a reason. But we've been integrating blogs and hosting them as well for all of our Showiteers. We've been hosting WordPress blogs, and there comes that question like, how hard is it to do? On your end, super easy. Like you give us the blog information, we actually do all the blog migration for you. Christian Peterson
rocks it out.
They're like king of blogs.
Bless that man and all the work he does with WordPress blogs. But he and the team here actually do the migration for you. So all the heavy lifting that comes with blog migration and getting it over to Showit and all of that, we take on. And so we make sure that everything works in the background, all the 301 redirects and all that fun stuff to make sure that all your links remain active and all the link backs remain active. So that's an excellent question. But here at Showit, that's just kind of how we do things. We want it to be as easy as possible on the creatives out there. And
you don't have to speak techie talk.
No,
I'll leave that to Todd.
Yeah. They start talking and I go into my happy place.
So that's a lot.
I think we better shut you down before you share too much more.
No, I think this is good. I mean, people have been asking, what does it look like to do WordPress and Showit? And even in our team, it's like, so wait, that's it? It's that easy? It is. I mean, like, we really want that to be a simple way to do that. And, obviously, if you have a custom developer who's custom coded a ton of things on WordPress, who knows if that's going to be the best option for you. But for most people who really just want to have a blog that matches their site, that they can control, that they can design, that they can do that, then we're going to do that. So
and it really comes down to the whole reason that Showit was created in the first place was to give photographers and other creatives the ability to design their own site without having to know code, without having to hire a developer or anything like that. Like, Showit replaces that. And where if you still can't do it on your end, like, there are some awesome designers. We have a great group of design partners that we team up with that are fantastic, that offer freestyle groups and then also different paid ones and custom stuff and all that. But you can do it yourself. And like, you can now create a WordPress theme, which is the craziest thing. Like, I never thought in my wildest dreams I'd be able to do that, and I did it last night.
It's like the creative freedom has gone through the roof. Because it was awesome on Showit Desktop and Showit 5.
And all this talk, it was like, how does this actually work? And I realized that was the one thing I was actually gonna show you a little bit. So let me actually jump in and at least show you one thing about what it looks like to, if you said I want to start from scratch and design this WordPress theme, what am I going to do? Well, you can see I laid out this blog, but how does this actually connect? What does it actually do? And people wonder, well, how do I make this blog title be the blog title? Well, I click into it right here, and I'm going to come into my text field, and I'm going to choose one of these things in the dropdown. And one of these things in the dropdown is the different pieces of content that comes from WordPress. Post title, author, date, content, excerpt, comments, any of those things that you would have from WordPress. You just say, oh, I want this field right here to be the post title. And then bang, that's your post title when you publish that theme. And so there's so many fun things that you can then do with that. Now, there's little pieces with Showit that's going to let you be able to say, you know what, this particular post is going to be, or this particular section of content, this block is going to be in the loop. So there's a couple of things like that that you need to set up to kind of have the structure of like what a template looks like. But a lot of the pre-built ones are going to have that really defined for you. So it's just a matter of laying out those different elements. If I want to add a title, I want to add a date, I want to change the format of the date. I can click on here into the post date and choose in my dropdown post date. And then I'm going to say, you know what, the date format, I want to look like November 6, 2015, or I want to look like Saturday, November, whatever it is. Or I just want to say November, so like, like you can have
for those people who don't know. This is my November post.
The struggle is real.
What I love about this though is, so last night when I was doing it, I set mine up on mobile first, and then I did the desktop design. And once I had it for my post list page, I wanted it, to be able to show different ones. I just duplicated the canvases that I was working in, and it duplicated it perfectly how I had set it up on mobile and desktop. So it was done. Oh, look at that, I'm done. I'm done more posts.
And post list means it shows multiple posts. It's a list of your posts, which is the way that we all know, we think about a WordPress blog looking when you originally go.
And you set that up in WordPress. So you set up the design here in Showit 5, and then on WordPress, the backend, I can say I want it to show 2 or 4 or 6 or whatever.
So cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, so there we go. At least we got to the point where we showed you what it looks like to design.
That was important.
It was literally 10 seconds to show you this is how you assign that, but that is the magic of what's happening when you do a WordPress design inside of Showit. A couple other questions that we coming up from chat. things that we can answer. People are asking about, Jeremy Ellsworth asked about videos. I guess you're asking, like, can you add videos? I mean, there's a widget in here that if I wanted to throw one into my top theme, I just click here and click video. And then I can drop in. Right now, Vimeo or YouTube are our 2 supported platforms. And then there'll be more coming later. Oops, what did I do then? And then
can you talk about, I don't know, we've released a lot of information today.
We've talked about it a lot.
Site designs. When you come into Showit 5, will there be site designs there that you can manipulate and change that already have blog posts, a post list built for you? And
so
framework?
So that's what we're working on right now. I mean, obviously, we would love to have released, yesterday or last week or whatever it is. But one of the things that we want to make sure that for everyone to have a good experience is to have some things to start with, because a lot of learning styles is understanding what's been done and then being able to do it. So we're building that content up, building sample designs, and we hope to have a lot of good ones in there for you. Someone's asking, if we upgrade to Showit 5, do we no longer need a pro photo blog? Again, this really comes down to, what do you need? If what we're doing with Showit 5's theme is what you need for your blog, then maybe not. Can you use a pro photo blog and Showit 5? Yes, you can still continue to do that. Someone might have customized their pro photo to no end and they want it to just be that, and maybe they'll make their Showit 5 match that. We're moving towards an integrated. I guess I should be more firm on that. Like, I would personally, I just use Showit 5.
You don't need an outside thing.
It's nothing against pro photo, and I think that's the key. I would say no, because it's so easy to design stuff and make changes to it and actually make it your own in Showit 5. That me as the photographer, absolutely not. I don't think that there's a reason to have it. But like Todd said, if you already have one set up that you love the design of and you love the way it works and it flows and it's good for you, you can keep it and still have Showit 5 for the rest of your site. It plays really well with WordPress, so I don't think that there's a need to cut it. But the fact that you actually have true creative freedom with the Showit 5, that it's a nice way of saying no. But you totally can.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, freedom.
It's freedom. The other thing is, can you drag and drop an existing Showit design? So that's been a big question, is migration of current Showit to Showit 5. And as it's moving forward, Showit Desktop will continue to work the way it's working
beautifully.
That was one of the things that you can kind of see here, is that Showit 5 is all in browser. It's a totally new platform. And in moving to a totally new platform, we had to make a decision of how much do we bring in from Showit Desktop. When you look at the scrolling sites and the way that we integrated things, we found that the actual migration of one design and Showit into Showit 5, we would have had to make a lot of decisions for you that you probably like right off the bat. So we decided, you know what, this is going to be a new platform and it's going to start new. So the great thing is, we've sat down with a lot of people and had them take their current Showit site and build it into Showit 5, changing some things up, restructuring some of the flow, and that process is pretty straightforward. So if you love your Showit design, you can, rebuild it, or you can keep it as is. There's not going away. So, people that are launching sites right now, it's great. Showit Desktop is great, and if you have plus sites on Showit Desktop, those will continue to work, and you can add Showit 5 as maybe your main site, and maybe you're going to replace a few plus sites. So the two of them, our plan is to have them continue to work together. So
awesome.
That's awesome.
So JT is asking a question.
Can you show us how to actually drag and drop something onto, adding a new canvas maybe?
Yeah, I mean, that's great. We if we look here at our desktop version of this site, say in this header, I don't even know what's even in this account. There you go. Okay, so that stuff is in here. So say I wanted to go ahead and add this picture. I just click on here, and that's going to add this picture directly into, this canvas, because I had this one selected. So this got added here, and I'm like, I want it actually in this one. I can actually have it overlap, which you're not going to see in a lot of places, and this is going to make it be a part of the sticky canvas. So like that, if I previewed this image actually right here would stick over top of this particular canvas. So right there, you can see that. And as I scroll, that image is just stuck right there.
Because you put it in your header.
Because I put it in the header.
Yeah.
Now, if I wanted this to go with this block right here, I can actually take this and drag it into that one. And now it's a part of this canvas. And I can take this canvas, I can drag this guy around. I can make him whatever size I want. And you can see it's loading up a different size image. There you go. So it's putting that in there. So that's one of the other fun things that if you've been using Showit for a while, you can drop in your big images. All of the magic is happening on the back end. We're making sizes for you that are the right size and be able to handle all kinds of different loading on mobile and desktop and all that. So you just drag in the big size and we're going to make the decision for you. So you'll see that as I take this image and I make it really big. It's blurry at first. It's going to go ahead and say, you know what, I need a new size. Now it's got a new size. It's that bigger size. And now the fun thing with this image is I can do some sizing and positioning things like, you know what?
Right aspect ratio.
That's not very great. So I'm going to contain this image. Okay, so now it's just going to stay inside of that frame. I can fill it, but then I can say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and move it, I think 60, other direction. 30. There you go. Oh, Liz is probably right. It's probably like 20. But yes, I could say I just want that section. And then likewise, as I scroll that around, maybe I say, you know what, I actually wanted this style section to be above this section. Now I just take this and I drag it to there, and boom, that whole section right there is now above the other one. And I still have this canvas that I can drag. I can have that overlap right there. So even though each canvas it's a section, it has that freedom that you're not constrained inside of that. So you can have things overlap and jump out.
You're not stuck inside of that box. Now, can you show us what happened when you added this to your desktop? Yeah. What happened over on mobile? If we look at.
So one of the things that as you're designing, it's great to do side by side, because then you get a chance to see, okay, that dropped that image right here. Now maybe I want to position it to overlap here. I don't always like working with that phone view, so I take that off. But you know, I can go ahead and decide on my mobile device if I want that there, or I can say, you know what, I actually don't like that at all on mobile, so I'm just going to take it off. And it's just as easy as that. That's the drag and drop nature of being able to build out this. So
you get the ability to share content between the desktop and mobile, but you also still have the freedom to design it how you want it to look on both, which is what I love, because the text boxes too, like on mobile, that's going to be your most refined messaging, where on desktop you really get to expand on that a little bit. So you can have it refined on mobile, or you can have the same thing set on both and shared across mobile and desktop. You can hide it on one, show it on the other. But as you update that content, it updates on both. So if you have shared content on mobile, the second that Todd added an image, it added it on both. If he were to change the text there, it would change it on both.
I love trees. Going to show
it's up. On both, man. It's on both.
And the question is it always a one-page design? No, it's not always a one-page design. This particular site has one page, but I can go ahead and I can duplicate this page, and I can have multiple pages, and I can link between those pages. So I can have multiple pages. What you're going to see is that because of the mobile trends of having long scrolling pages, you're probably going to have fewer pages because you can have deeper, richer, like longer pages. So you might have fewer pages, but you can still have multiple pages because you might have a landing page that you want to hit for something else or this or that, and all those.
If you look at sites that are already on Showit 5, Jasmine's is one page. Even the path to profitability is I didn't even say that right. The path to profitability is 3 pages. 3 pages. And then Amy and Jordan's site, more than 3 pages.
Multiple pages.
But so it really just kind of depends on your preference, your design preference, how much content that you have. I do think that moving forward, some of those, the days of 9, 10, 12 page sites, probably going away. I mean, there will be obviously exceptions to every rule, but I do think that 1 to 5 page site is really a little more of the trend.
Yeah, and the caveat to that, I feel like, at least I want to insert there, is the blog post. So a blog post is technically a page, and that's content. It's going to match the same style, but so your design essentially is almost like a style group. That's like your template for a blog post, and now I have hundreds of blog posts, and that's going to be the richness of your SEO. Comes from lots of different pages like that. So
awesome. Well,
this is so fun.
this was a lot of fun. Todd, thanks so much for joining us.
Yes.
And for way oversharing. I thought we were going to focus on,
That was more than the
that
list.
that was a great one. So thank you so much for being so generous with not only your time, but also the information you shared.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
been great.
you know, if you come in the right time and
That's right.
you catch me on a little bit of sleep, or just
That's right. Yeah, I shut the lights off on you last night, which was a lot of fun. I'm glad that you didn't just fall asleep.
Yeah.
At that time.
Messages at midnight, right?
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us this week. It was a lot of fun. I hope you got all the information you were looking for out of Showit 5. But like Todd said, if you are interested in getting access early and you haven't already applied for early access, we'll post up that link here in the chat, as well as you can always reach out to me. I'm the only Field Binny on Facebook. It's one of those rare things with a unique, weird name. But please feel free to reach out to me, and I can at least get you the link to where you can apply for early access, and hopefully you'll get into it.
Yeah, and next week, joining us on the show, do we have
Ryan Reed is going to join us next
Ryan.
week. We love Ryan. She's actually a local Showiteer. She's a girl. She's got one of those like male sounding names. But she is a wedding photographer here. She's actually a really good friend of mine, and she's got a Showit 5 site that we'll be showing off to you, which is really, really cool. But Ryan wanted to jumpstart her business. And so she did something that helped her to book, I believe the number right now is 43 weddings in 9 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
So pretty crazy. She went from shooting like 7 weddings in a year to now, I think this 2016 season, like 36 weddings.
Yep.
So she wants to share some of that with you if that's something you're looking to do for your business.
Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next week, and then also at WPPI.
Yes.
Bye guys. Have a great week.